Hello and welcome back to Poker for Muppets. It's me, it's Pluto Man, once again, and yeah, it's the second and final part of a tournament that I played actually on Sunday. Triple Draw, which is not a game I played that often, but I sort of have an idea of how to play it. It's not. I get a little bit confused in certain spots though about what is the optimal thing to do, or no, and especially around on the later streets, the turn and stuff. I just don't quite have have a sense of what to do sometimes. That's where things get a bit awkward. When to try and raise to get people to break, when I might be facing someone trying to get me to do that, or what to hang on with, what to give up with, when to even draw two on the river, this sort of the last draw, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, river strategy as well. When to check raise, um, when to bet call, when to bet fold, when to check fold. All is this those last two streets are, I think, obviously. I think the turn in particular is really difficult. The river, you can sort of game out somehow a game theory optimal strategy, I suppose, but the turn is quite difficult. And there's things like freezing, which is when you're in position, someone bets, you just call, and you have like a say it goes two, 1-1 or something, or even two, 1-2, for instance. Someone's bets, you've got a 9-7 or something. You decide not to raise there. You just call, and then decide to pat behind. If your opponent draws again, right? Things like that. A little bit difficult to know what to do. So anyway, so now I've actually taken a break in the real tournament, and it's just gone 3 o'clock, and 7 minutes passed, so I didn't get any hands for the first 7 minutes or so after the break. That's why I've skipped through them. And here I do have a hand though, 6-5-2. It's not the best two-card draw, but it's all right. I'm just going to call here. That's obviously what I have to. He's going to call pretty much all the time. And I don't hit anything on the first draw apart from another blocker. So I've actually hit a lot of blockers today, a lot of juices. So we go 2-2-1. I have to call here and hit two aces. Now this is where it gets interesting. So obviously I completely miss. And he's only got 500 behind, and there's 3,000 odd in the pot. And he's actually pat. I don't know whether I should call here. I don't know whether I should be calling here because it feels like it can't be too bad. But then there's the other guy. Even if I do hit a sort of hand, I might not beat the other guy. So I actually think I probably needed to fold here. I think that's what I needed to do. Getting 6-1. Um, I don't know. It's kind of close, I think. I decided to call though, just because even though I know he's pat, if I didn't know he was pat, things would be very, very different. Then I think I have to call. And of course, I go and hit 8-7-6-5-2, so the second worst eight, number 17, and so I hit obviously very, very well. But there's no guarantee I'm going to have the best hand here. And there's also he could hit on the last draw too. Let's see. So he draws one. Could have already been pat there too, right? For all I knew. So he does go and hit. So I do beat him. I hit very, very, very well. I do beat him, but I don't beat the other guy. So I do take like half of this pot. So about similar spot to how I started the hand. So I don't know whether I should have called that bet on the turn there. I just don't know. My guess is probably I shouldn't have called it actually. Um, so anyway, so 8-3, you have to call here against a cut-off raise, 8-3-2, and let's see what happens. So he folds and the big blind folds. We go three-way to the first draw. We all draw two, and I don't hit anything apart from another blocker, which I've hit a lot of. and no more bets go in. I'm happy about that. And makes sense because we're all drawing two again, and at this time I completely miss, and I fold. I mean, I think my 98 draw's not going to be good enough. Um, so he's actually pat here. He shouldn't be pat all the time. He bets there, but and he actually had 8 7 6 5 2. So, and what did the other guy have again? I forget. What was that? What was that hand? Um, he makes the call. Okay. Well, he bets it on the river. That's kind of interesting. He got called by number 11. So, yeah, I had to fold there. Multi-way, it's very different to being heads up. Some heads up, you could make a call there, I think. So this time it's an interesting one. I've got 9 8 7 6 4. I've got actually the worst possible nine. If it was heads up, then I'd just pat this and try and um, just hope to get to showdown. Hope nobody raised me. That's the only way to play it heads up. But unfortunately, you limp, and it's just an awful spot for me. This, so you limp, then you over limp, and if I think if someone raises here, I'm just going to dump the hand, be done with it, and not even going to see a draw. But he don't, so I'm forced to play the hand. And what do I do? I mean, I think I could. I mean, I could raise and pat, but I think that would be suicide because someone's almost certainly when it goes this multi-way going to hit a better hand than me, or at least put me under a whole ton of pressure. So remember, it's triple draw, folks. They all get three draws. They can all draw as many cards as they want, or as few as they want on every draw. And I've got to dodge all of that, like effectively 9 draws with a hand as weak as this. So what do I decide to do? I'm pretty sure I get rid of the 9 and the 8. I think it's the only thing to do here. Try to hit a 2 or something. It's funny. So I hit 3 3. One of the threes acts as a blocker, I suppose. Kind of wishing I'd hit the 8. I've kept the 8 now. But so I'm going to take one off here. I decided to just check. Is someone going to bet here? No, looks like nobody's improved. He draws 1, so it's kind of weird that he didn't bet. I drew 1. It's weird how I don't bet too, but I think it's all less. This play's not very good, I know, but it's a lot less exploitable, multi-way, and against people you're not going to see very often. In a cash game, probably end up betting there. I think I'd have to bet there because it's a tournament. I decide to just play. There's only 15 players left now. Sort of people being knocked out. I very nearly got knocked out earlier on. I managed to somehow stay alive. And we go to the last draw this time. I hit 2 7s, so kept the pot really small. He gets to draw 3 on the river. You don't often get to do that. So how many cards has he drew? I suppose he drew 9 cards in total, right? And now I can just fold. So I managed to limit the damage there, which I had a very weak hand. So he had 8 7 6 5 3. He needs to bet there. He's going to get called by Wursel all the time. Yeah. So in a tournament, I think it's worth sometimes just trying to limit the damage. A lot less. I think that's true a lot more than in a in a cash game. So I don't have anything here. I'm just not going to obviously get involved with this. My hand's junk. Um, so 9th out of 16 at the moment. So the late reg is finished finally. So people were joining. So I think it's the top 8 who get paid in the end. Top 8 that get paid. And I've managed to reach the point at which nobody else can buy in. Blinds way up to 500,000 by the way now. So crazy to join in now with 3 big bets, but people do, even if you're allowed to. So two people are all in. This pot is big, and and yeah, there you go. Poker with Muppets, everybody. That's why it's called Poker with Muppets. There are people who do not know how to play the game, and he got in just before the late reg period ended. That's another thing you see. People who buy in very late are often not very good players. Um, so anyway, 96 wins that pot. Decent sized pot, even though it's only 4 big bets. That's the funny thing. These pots are going to be huge now relative to people's stack sizes. So what lose one big pot, and I'm crippled. That's even though I've only actually got 7 big bets. This is a funny one. We've got 95, and what do I do? I mean, I'm heads up here. And do I? I think I have to pat this actually. I think I've got to pat it. I'm thinking about what to do with that 9. In the end, I didn't have to make a decision. I was very glad about that. 9-5 and 9-6. They're difficult ones, I find. So anyway, he's got a lot of chips, this guy, 24,000. There's his hand, his trip 7s. So I'm putting him as red. It's my new colour for people who don't know what they're doing. Okay. So yeah, he's the new picks has gone. He loses out to that number 9. And I've got nothing here, basically. All right, so he's limping the button, which is terrible. So I get a free look at this. We go 3, 3, 2. Okay. And I decide to actually bet into him because I don't think he's actually going to be. I think it's almost worth take. Notice how I don't like I don't like the rule about always checking to people who drew fewer cards than you. I don't think that applies when nobody drew fewer than 2. I think when it's only 2s and 3s, then you can discard that rule. That's how I play it anyway. So because I've actually hit a reasonable 1 card draw now, I decided to just come out and bet because the fact that he didn't bet, he didn't raise on the button there means, well, A, he's not a good player, and B, he probably didn't have a very good 2 card draw anyway. Otherwise, he would have raised it. So he's probably got like 8-6-4 or something here. But he calls, and we now go. I hit a good hand. I hit number 11, 2-1-2. So I come out and bet. Obviously again, and I get one of them folds. And now, because I think he's got a rough draw here. Um, yeah, he. I think I need to. I mean, I have to bet this on the river. I don't always think number 11's a bet, but I think it is here. And he's got a lot of chances to hit a worse hand here. So let's see what happens. He folds, okay, but I still win a good pot there. A little while later, about 9,000 in chips, 7th place. 4722. Think about that blocker again. 2-1. He bets. Notice how he didn't. He didn't put the. Now hang on. How did that play out? He didn't. Can I just go back? Right. Sorry. I'm gonna go back here because my memory's so bad. Oh no, that's fine. Okay. That's all standard. I thought that he did something really weird. I thought he limped, but he didn't. Okay. So here we go. So hit 10-9. Because he is short, so he could be like a lot wider than he would normally be. It's possible. This time, he's pat 2-0. I go and hit improve. Have to call here. And what do I hit on the river? Oh, I actually do hit on the river. I hit 8-7-6, 4-2. So what's that? Like number 14, I think. He's got number 6. I'm a long way behind him. Would have been nice to have had that pot. I've had 13,000. So look how big that pot is. That pot is as big as my stack. And now, instead of having 13,000 him being out, we're tied in chips, effectively, pretty much. So 6-5-2, and again, I've got that flush thing to deal with here. Again, with a 2 card draw, it's not such a concern, but obviously going to have to call here. I'm getting a price. What do I hit? Well, I'm still in danger of making a flush. So I completely failed to improve. Luckily, it gets checked around. Still failed to improve. 2-2-2. Not going to call a bet here, I don't think. Multi-way if it's the 9 draw. Just let it go. And he folds as well. Ugh. It's possible I was drawing live there, but so my stack is dwindling, isn't it? 10th out of 12, 6-3-2. Need to win a pot here. Won exactly half of my showdowns, by the way. You can see that. Said 8 out of 16. Just briefly popped up there. You can go back and look at that if you wanted to. So we're going three-way here. We are. We're going three-way. I've got a two-card draw, and I go and hit. Oh, this is an awkward one. I remember this one being being horrible. So my idea is to pat here. I've got 9-6-4. It's a horrible one. Um, yeah. So I have to bet this. He calls, and then he raises. So it's like, oh, geez, we're multi-way, we're three-way. He raises, and this puts me in a really awkward spot. The thing is, if I break, I don't know what the best thing to do here. I really don't know. It must be player dependent. So only got outs to a 7 and an 8, right? 8 outs twice. So just on a Holden principle, that's like about a 30 odd percent chance to hit with two draws. Tough, isn't it? Got like less than 1 in 3 chance of actually improving. Because I could get the 9 back, don't forget too. So if that's the other thing to think about, that puts me up to, well, I'm close. I'm basically about even to at least get the same card back as what I ended up with, which makes me think that maybe breaking is better. So what do I do? Also, the other thing is the other guy could hit, but now he folds. So this, I don't know. I do break, but I don't know. Well, and it works out quite, and he's drawing 1. Oh my God! So he got me to break that hand. Wow. Ugh. I thought three-way, he wouldn't be doing that without a pat hand. I really didn't think so. So I mean, I'm very lucky to have hit that. So maybe I thought about check raising there, but I've never seen this guy before. This time, so now he's pat. This is a little bit weird, but didn't. It's a shame he didn't raise. But anyway, I bet he calls. Do I see what he had? Oh, see, that was a huge pot for me. I do go up and see what he had. So he ended up making a hand and calling me with something that was actually worse than what I would have had if I had just patted that originally. Dear me. I mean, I'm obviously I'm very grateful to have won that pot, but I'm thinking that I should have just called it. I mean, I didn't know him well enough. I knew nothing about this guy. Oh dear. So I'm finding out about him. He likes to. He's I don't know. He's a bad player, but he's doing some weird stuff this time. He has 9-8. So hang on. So can I have a look at this? How did he play that? Ah, so that was fine. I was thinking, did he pat that from an early street? But no. 9-8. It makes sense. And the other guy just made a straight on the river. Okay. Unfortunate for him. Up to 12,000. Sixth place out of 12. Been on 12 for a little while here. Got a good two-card draw. Open it up. No, he three bets me. Draws 1. That's all very standard. I miss. Do hit a blocker, I guess. But you'd think he would have a juice here if he's doing this. Look what I had. Look what I hit. Wow. Wow. Okay. So I raise. What does he do? He calls. Draws 1. So this is all very standard and very decent play from him, from what I can tell. I bet. He calls me. Ooh, that's nice. So I get an extra. I get a little betting on the end there too. Fold this one. 7-4-3 under the gun, I think, is a disaster. And he calls with 8-7-6-5-2. Yeah, I mean, it could be snowing there sometimes, I suppose. Something like that. Unlikely to be betting a hand worse than that for value, though. It really he has a bluff catcher there with 8-7-6-5-2. That's all it is. So up to 18,000. Third place all of a sudden. From the dead, practically. Tournaments are going for an hour and 3/4 now. Shiba Chang has his pat, bets, and he's got 2 pair. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So he just wow, I don't even think I really saw that in real time. He was wow, that's an amazing one. Wow. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing because he's got he's genuinely won some pots with good hands. So I gotta look at a 4 card draw here. So we got 2, 4. And he just checks. I think after if it goes 2-4, I'm going to be betting there. And especially with drawing 1, that makes no sense at all. So there's a lot of stuff here that makes no sense. I fold though because my draw's not very good. 5-6-5-3-2, and he's got the nuts. And the pot's tiny, so I think I had to fold there. I'm very happy with my fold. And with him getting knocked out there, that brings in this little bubble thing, which means there's only um, and I clearly get rid of the 8 here because we're going multi-way. Don't want an 8-7-6. You're not trying to make an 8-7-6 multi-way. I think that would be quite a big mistake to hold on to hang on to the the 8 there. So we go multi-way here. One of them drops out on the first draw. I miss. We go 1-2-1. I check. Eek. But the other guy doesn't do the job for you a lot of the time and bets. So it's like a prisoner's dilemma. And he checks, expecting one of us to actually um, you know bet. I suppose he's going for a check raise there. Wow, that was interesting, wasn't it? Um, so I'm suddenly running reasonably hot, aren't I? Out of from nowhere. Didn't run hot in the early stages at all. So 3 bet here. Have to 3 bet this. Absolutely got to 3 bet. And it gets capped, which is fine. 2, 1. Right, and I make number 5 off the bat, which is just wonderfully donks into me. That's shit. Utter shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. I will be betting that all the time. As it turns out, he was lucky because I think I would have put a 3rd bet in with that. So he actually saves himself some bets there. But he needed to check raise there, really. So I'm betting there all the time, right? Hit or no hit. I go and bet. And I win a big pot. And he was drawing, as it turns out, dead to what I had. Wow. So look at me. I mean, I'm in the lead now with 9 players to go, 9 players left on the immediate bubble. That bubble comes up when there were 3 to go. So 11 is when the bubbled little icon thingy came up. But now we're on the immediate bubble. Not that I'm concerned at all about that at the moment. Unfortunately, I go and miss this. He checks there. That's crazy stuff. So I bet. And he calls. I mean, that's a little bit of it's a thin value bet there, and he calls there. So I've actually got a. What do you have? 9-7. Oh, wow, we 9 and basically junk. So I'm in a very nice position here. 12 minutes till the break, and I'm thinking, well, I can win this thing now. Did have a look at my notes. I did actually win a triple draw tournament one time back in 2010, I think, 10 or 11. So I'm thinking, can I do it again for the second time in my life? Win a triple draw tournament. I don't even think I final tabled one other than that actually. Maybe I did. Maybe I final tabled one once before too. Honestly, I can't remember. Don't have a photographic memory for this stuff. Unfortunately, I brick. Bets again, I have to call. So the guy's all in. I miss. fold, and he's got 9-7. So can we go back here? Can we go back? I want to see how this one played out. So hang on. So hang on. We're multi-way here, right? We're three-way. And he pats off the bat with his hand with such a smooth draw underneath it. That's terrible. You've got to draw there. And I remember when I started playing this game, first time I ever played it, I would do that stuff. I'd pat 9-7 with a good draw underneath, 9-8. 9-8, 7-3-2. I'd pat that multi-way, which, you know, then I realised that multi-way you actually want to get rid of the 9 and the 8 there and draw 2. So that, ooh, I think I've gone a bit too far forward there. Anyway, yeah, 9-7-5-3-2. So he had a monster draw. I mean, it worked out for him, right? So now final table. Yeah, 8-7-6-3. And what do I do? I don't like this at all. But what I decide to do here is play it as a two-card draw. Ugh. I mean, the other option was to, I didn't want this, because I didn't want to just draw one and then re-raise with a hand as weak as this out of position, right? So in the big blind, you end up with some weird spots. So that I could have drawn to 8-6-3 or 7-6-3. I think they're probably kind of similar. Obviously, 8-6-3 have more chance of making a hand. 7-6-3 gives you more of a chance of making a really big hand. So I decided to do this, to play it like this. I'm going to fold to a bet here. There isn't a bet. I decide to draw 2 again. This time, I decided to donk. The reason for this, I mean, I think of it as being a donk because it goes 2-2-1, and he didn't bet. So because of that, my plan is to actually pat here. My plan is to pat this. So he calls, and I pat, right? And then you pat behind. Oh dear. And he bets. Oh my god. And he calls, and that makes my life much, much easier. The fact that he calls means I can just simply fold here. I know the odds are good and everything, but there's no way, no reasonable way I don't have the best, that I actually have the best hand here. So yeah. And you go and and you hit the nuts off a two-card draw, and you slow played it, which I think is really dumb. That's really, really dumb because you missed out on a lot of value there. I mean, I would have, you know, I would have called him, for instance. Maybe you would have even called the two bets. I don't know. I would have called a draw then, because I had 9-7-6, whatever it was. I'd have been drawing dead, obviously, to his hand there too. So yeah, he needed to get to just raise there on the turn. Third place now. Make this cool. Go some re-raises. And this gets capped. Wow, massive pot. And this is the thing. These pots are big. That's the other thing why, like Limit Badoogi's got a ton of variance in it, right? This has even more, and the reason for that is that you actually get to play more hands. There are more, like your VPIP in this is going to be higher than it is in Badoogi. Part of that is because it's only 6-handed, whereas Badoogi's often 8. Also, you know, because hands run closer together, it means that you play more hands. You know, the other thing is that it's often more correct to stick around till the end of the hand. So in Badoogi, it's often correct to fold on the turn, where it's correct to call on the turn here. It's just that there's more chance of you hitting a hand. In Badoogi, it's actually quite hard to hit a hand. So yeah, so because of that, the pot's are a little bit bigger. That's not always the case. Badugi, because it's eight-handed, means that sometimes you're going to get four-way, five-way pots. And back in the good old, wonderful Wild West days of cash Badugi, um, when people played like far too many hands, it would be like it was just fantastic. But you get four-way, five-way pots, hands not running that close together. So it was a license to print, albeit small amounts of money, but money nonetheless. Okay, and get to call here as well. 1120. I have to call here. Pot's so damn big. You just call. So again, you get the donk bet here, right? Donking into that guy who was pat, and that's a pretty terrible thing. I don't hit well enough on the river. Someone's sending me another message, and I just folded. And everybody folded there. So he's got an enormous stack now. Haven't run well at the final table to this point. See, I've dropped down for my little being in the lead. Got a big draw here. Let's get some money in. We go three-way. He's playing a lot of hands, this guy. I mean, I don't think calling with a three-card draw. I don't know. I suppose it could be okay sometimes. Go and bet this again, even though I miss. One. No, oh, that's nice. Hit number six. So I raise, which I have to do here. He calls. He draws, okay. So interesting to see what I could raise with there. And I bet and he folds, right? So I win a pot there and it gets you back into a reasonable position. Not a huge pot, but a nice little one to have. Third place, hand's terrible here. And that's the button. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? He's been playing poker, this guy, for decades. And he's doing that. This makes no sense at all. I raise. That's the only way to play this. And I call, oh dear. Oof. He pats and I draw. Oh no. I make the call. And I fold. This is a really, really difficult one. So it's possible I actually folded the best hand. I don't think best hand there. I don't think so. Like I broke the best hand. I mean, it's possible. Ugh. I fold here. Yeah, that was a really difficult one. It's a difficult spot for me, and a sense that maybe I should have called there and patted and hung on to my hand. Just felt a little bit too weak to do there, but my draw underneath wasn't good enough. This is where I struggled. That sort of thing is what I struggle with. Um, I'm vulnerable to getting bluffed or not getting, and I don't know when to make that sort of play myself. Of course, it's a very good chance he just had a big hand there. Probably what happened, but um, who knows? And then that's the other thing. I remember when I used to play cash in this game, I just I didn't like to break. I would just call. And then nearly all the time I had a losing hand in that spot. I didn't want to break. Just hang on to it, to cool down. So down to five now. Um, I'm in fourth place out of five. Very close. Us two are very close. Um, Des Ho and me. And this guy, verb pronoun, doesn't have a lot of chips. He's probably going to stack off here. Or certainly willing to stack off, I'd imagine. Goes 1-2. He doesn't bet, which is bad. Ligriano needs to bet there. And, and he gets right, and he gets the raise in there on the river. Oh heck, he has done before, and yes, so So the chance that I was going to get a ladder up there, but I don't. And he's sort of back into the pack a little bit now. Good draw here. Got a blocker as well. I mean, I could even three bet. I don't think it'd be terrible. He's bad. How crazy! I call. I know he's going to be patting a lot of bad stuff. Unfortunately, I just miss. He's got 984 now. I think that's probably a bad pat again because he's got three draws to make a monster, and I had a lot of outs to beat him there. I just didn't hit one of them. So um, he's got so many outs to a hand to can make something really really big, very very tasty, and he decides to hang on to that. I'd be drawing there, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm happy to draw happy. I don't know. Um, but second time he's hung on to a nine before the draw when he had a big draw and he decided to forego that, so to basically waste his big draw. Um, so it's kind of interesting, isn't it? And both times he's come up very very nicely for him, but like one in a dozen he was going to win both those pots there or something. Maybe not one in a dozen. What do I say? One in you know eight, 7 or 8 or something probably. But that's why he's got 64,000. Fold this 653 is just endless trouble. Get rid of it. So let's see who's going to win this one. Showing all the hands now. Patted, so make some little notes there. So verb pronouns actually now in fifth place out of 5. Last time before the break. No, 1-2. Bet raise. Gosh. 1-0. Raise. Okay. Wow, he three bets. It's weird how he would bet there. That's a really bad bet. It's a donk bet. It's just so much of this stuff. They actually chop it up with the same hand they both have number 4. I mean, not actually the result I wanted to see from that hand. I want to see someone actually lose some chips there, and neither of them did. Would have increased my equity in the tournament probably. Weird donk bet. Yeah, just weird bad play in general, I think. And I say I'm no expert on this game. I think I've demonstrated that with some of my plays. All right, here we go. Big draw here. Got a raise. Got a raise. Fortunately, I can't hit to save my life. He drew. So weird how he's played this hand. It's so weird. Have to call, and again, I just completely miss. He bets again. I have to fold because I've got a queen for God's sake. So I think about calling there actually. I clearly think about it, but I make the fold. I just think a queen is just not going to be the best hand often enough. So weird how he played that hand though, so passive before the draw. So now I'm really up against it with 4 big bets left basically. Um, so I do feel like there's value in this triple draw for me actually. Um, there's a lot of automatic plays that you need to make in this game. People aren't making them, so obviously like always betting when it goes 2-1 or whatever. People are just not doing that. Whoa, okay. A lot of chips going in here. And okay, so number one and number two. Wow. So again, I'd have preferred if Ligriano had won that. Give me a chance at least of a ladder up. Whereas now, the only way I'm going to probably get anywhere here is if I actually, um, you know, win win a hand myself. Make a nice hand myself. Okay, here we go. I decide to three bet this and break. And at least I think. Oh, hang on. Well, do I decide to break or do I decide to just pat? So he draws two and I pat. That's the way to play that. Pretty sure about that. This time he goes to the check raise. I just call and just freeze here, but it's like he's probably hit something. He's hit a nice two-cut draw there. To my misfortune, and yeah, he's got number nine. It beats my hand, um, and that's it for me. That's yes, it's not a great finish, but I do finish fifth. I make a little bit of money, $8, $9, something like that. That's what my profit was. Yeah, nearly $9, $12 back. So yeah, interesting little tournament that though. Interesting, lot of play there that was from my opponents that wasn't very good. Um, I don't think that I played fantastically well, but thought I was okay. Probably plus EV in that one. But the problem is it's so high variance that nobody's going to have a massive ROI in this triple draw. But maybe I should play it a little bit more often. I don't often get the chance. That's the thing. It's at a time of day that doesn't really work for me. So that's why I sort of, uh, you know, yeah, don't play it very often. Anyway, pretty nasty day outside as it's been for a little while now. It's been a bit of a nasty week in a lot of ways. Uh, haven't been feeling 100%, but yeah, happens sometimes. Anyway, I'll be back maybe at the weekend. Maybe I hope if it's at the weekend, that's probably a good thing. Might have means I might have done well in a tournament. Decide to put it up. But it could just mean something funny has happened. Who knows? Anyway, you take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Hope you enjoyed this, and goodbye.